I'm John Miglosh for the Wisconsin DMA and the ISSM.org. Changed you up a little bit today. Okay, so we got it rolling, and today we're going to talk a little bit about AI, okay, which is always an interesting experience. What I've been trying to do is I've been trying to look around the world and find some examples of AI that actually works. See if I can get to Pocket. There's a really nice picture here. This picture, and it when I click on it, the picture's gone. But it shows a Snickers bar. It shows Snickers bars, and they're in a kind of a red wrapper instead of the normal brown wrapper. And I think there's Chinese writing on it, but it's hard to see because when I click on it, it disappears. And they change this stuff every week or two. This is a beta. If you see that beta, I wanted to get back off the beta, and I don't know how to do it. It doesn't. It asks me about getting on it, but it doesn't ask me how to get off of it because I don't like it anymore because of things like this. But anyway, they decided to M&M Mars decided they needed some different products for China, and so they went to Alibaba and asked them about why they went to Alibaba. Alibaba has lots of data, I guess. Sometimes I wonder if they didn't just go there, if somebody didn't just come up with an idea and say, now how can we justify this? Because that's kind of what I think is going on here. But before we go to that, Listerine did the same thing. Listerine said, we need a different product for China. Now that in itself is a very, very smart idea. Okay? I remember going to Kentucky, getting Kentucky Fried Chicken for a business meeting up in Toronto in the mid-90s, and it was incredibly salty. It looked the same, but it tasted completely different. And I was told that it was the Canadian formulation, that they loved the saltiness. Okay, it's fine. But it makes sense sometimes, you know. Why should every McDonald's burger taste the same? I don't know. Apparently it doesn't now, but that's what it did in the past. I went to Costa Rica and had some McDonald's, and the ice cream was better in Costa Rica because they apparently wouldn't let McDonald's in unless they made it with real cream from Costa Rica. But they don't do that in Wisconsin. Kind of funny. So anyway, they decided that Chinese consumers reacted poorly to existing formulations, and so they went to this Tmall Innovation Center, and though Tmall came up with the idea that young Chinese women prefer mouthwash with fruit and floral flavors. Now, the next thing that Mars did was they went to this Tmall guys and they said Chinese consumers love spicy food. Now, what I don't understand is why didn't they make spicy Listerine? I mean, nobody likes the flavor of Listerine. Nobody. In any country, I would guess. It's like, how did AI help you with this? It didn't help at all. But consumers love numbing and spicy, so why don't they make numbing and spicy Listerine or fruity Snickers bars? Leveraging the insights we got from the collaboration, we connected a flavor loved by 41% of Chinese consumers with our chocolate. And what's wrong with chocolate? That probably has a 95% love. They got to juice it up. But anyway, I hope. Now, one of the great things about these articles, Tmall helps to aim every brand to speed up its product R&D innovation by looking at data. Data will not give you the innovation because it could have been flip-flopped, and hopefully someone will have gone to the mall and said, does this taste good to you? Which they didn't say they did with Listerine, but it sounds like they should. You know, which do you like better, fruity or stuff you could clean your tires with? And this is the point of the next article, which I really like, actually. The next article is about how we really need to step back from AI, and this one's about HIAI, which is human and artificial intelligence. Could be hey. Anyway, it says we live in an age of artificial intelligence. I contest that. You know, yes, the voice recognition, but it's software. You know, there's not a little mind in your phone saying, oh, I think he's talking about Hegel's dialectic. No, there's nobody thinking about that. They're just trying to get the words right that make some sense in a context. But he says, and you go to every conference you go to, they dominate every panel discussion, boardrooms, blogs, white papers, thought leadership of the last 2 years. But marketing professionals have more questions than answers about AI. So we need to take a step back. What a profound idea. I've been saying that for years now. We need to move beyond seeing AI as that new shiny toy, which is, of course, what every marketer loves, a new toy, and realize that AI is a means to an end, nothing more, nothing less. He says, I love this line from Teradata because I'm in the negotiations with a big client, and they want to spec the machines. And it's like, you don't want to know what the machine, yeah. But what if it was a cloud? What if we said, our analytics are on the cloud? Then you wouldn't ask what kind of machine it was. You'd just say, oh, okay, on the cloud. But it's some kind of machine. There's no cloud. There's machines that talk to each other over the wire, like in the 60s when we had a timeshare, the computer at the university. Anyway, it says, stop buying analytics. It's time to invest in answers. Well said. So this guy suggests that AI is like market research. And it's like a tool set. Right. And I'm saying you'd be better off on the street with little cups of Listerine and little cups of fruity Listerine and see which ones they like better. Right? Try out the Snickers bars. Hand some out. Just because AI tells you, and I'm not saying it did, but that spicy chocolate might be a hit, doesn't mean you can just add any amount of spicy to any amount of chocolate and get it right. That's insanity. You can't let an AI decide what's a tasty level of numbing your face. Oh my gosh. Unbelievable. I keep searching for any case study in AI where it really matters, and I can't find them. So I was hired by a fishing club, the North American Fishing Club, and we were talking about what they would like to know. And they came down with, one of the things we'd really like to know. I said, you send out these books to everybody. I didn't get a book when I joined the club. They said, you had to get a book. And I said, no, I'm sure I didn't. And they said, well, where do you live? I said, Wisconsin. They said, oh, you'll get the walleye book. I think I've told the story before. Anyway, I said, well, I hate walleye fishing. I think it's the dumbest kind of fish you could ever fish for, except for eating it. It's great. And they said, well, so I said I must have just sent it back because I would never want to read a walleye book. I don't want to ever go walleye fishing again. I'd rather fish for carp. Anyway, so they said, well, why don't you figure out with your predictive analytics, why don't you figure out what kind of fish someone would fish for? And after thinking about it for about 10 seconds, I said, you know what? Why don't you ask people what kind of fish they like to fish for? And after a long story about how hard it would be. And they went, oh, yeah, that we could do. Send them a postcard. Ask them what kind of fish you could fish for. But there was a great story. I think it was in this BBC's media show, interviewed Rob Stringer. And I don't know, but I was reading about how they actually run songs through predictive analytics or whatever, through AI, and figure out which one's going to be a hit. And they're actually fairly good at it. We'll take that by faith. And so they found a new band, and they ran all their songs through the model, and they found one that would be a far and away big hit. And so they were going to run it, and the guy in charge said, no, we're not going to run it. We're going to run these other 4 or 5 songs. We're going to go with those, make those nice hits. And once they get their feet on the ground, and once they know how to handle fame a little bit, once they mature a little bit, then we'll pop that song. They said, if we pop this song, it'll ruin their lives. They'll be the biggest thing in the world, and then they'll be gone. Now that's wisdom. See, that's wisdom, right? Wisdom, which is this kind of thing. Tom Fishborn. Not so fast. We also have to take into account my extensive marketing experience selectively ignoring data like this, where they say it's an obvious choice. The Blood Center, and I told this story before, they said our obvious target is wealthy white women, and all the data pointed to that. But the reason it pointed to that was because they had only marketed to that in those magazines that their board, who were wealthy white women, happened to like. And it was the opposite. The answer was opposite. Sometimes you need that wisdom. And that is what we talk about here on 10 of 10. It's the clear choice can often be the wrong choice. Download the Periscope app. Look up Miglash Marketing. Hit follow. Like and share.